Hello and welcome into another edition of Sitting Down with Sgar. I'm your host, the voice of Georgetown football, Jeremy Huber, joined again by the head coach of the Hoyas, Rob Sgarlata. Rob, thank you for joining us.
Jeremy, great to see you.
Coach, we'll go back a little bit. Didn't get a chance to talk to you last week, so we'll do a quick bow tie on the Penn matchup. Your general thoughts on the loss to the Quakers, where your guys, again, did some good things, but I guess not enough.
Yeah, we came out and did not get off to a great start. We turned the ball over a couple times, and was really proud of how the guys fought back and got us back in the game to get ourselves in a position to tie or get within four to end the half. We didn't get in to just end the half on a quarterback sneak, and came out in the second half. And like you said, did some great things overall. Had a historic day from Mason Gudger with a couple great kickoff returns and some really good things on both sides. But going into the bye week, one of the biggest things that we're seeing is that we're really inconsistent at times. And again, when you play against good football teams, which everybody on our schedule has a pretty good ball club, it winds up hurting you down in the long run. So, like you said, some great things to build on throughout the bye week, and looking forward to getting back on the field against Colgate this weekend.
And coach, we'd be remiss if we didn't get a little deeper into Mason Gudger again. What a phenomenal day for him. The accolades are rolling in. Patriot League Rookie of the Week, Special Teams Player of the Week, with good reason after that 2 kickoff return performance. Again, it just has to be a proud moment for you, but also maybe a surprising one to see the freshman break out like that.
Yeah, we were kidding around about it on Sunday after the game with Dorian Moultrie saying it was his fault because he had the 70-yarder in the game before, so they were kicking away from him. So we put him in the game. We've known since Mason got here that he is extremely fast. He's a very accomplished football and track athlete out of Tennessee, and it was great to see him not only take one but two to the house, against Penn. So we were a little surprised they kicked to him the second time, and just really happy that he's emerged on the scene. And with a performance like that, hopefully it's earned him some more touches in the games coming up in the weeks to come.
Coach, another freshman who's done some great things for you, Wedner Cadet, picked off his 3rd pass of the season in the Penn game, has just been named to the Jerry Rice Award list, the watch list for best FCS freshman. Again, he is a guy who's come into this program and made an immediate impact.
Yeah, it's one of those positions that you really don't think that a freshman would come in and be able to play at such a high level. Once we got Wedner into summer camp and through our workouts, you could tell he has a ton of the physical skills. He does a great job studying the game. I think Coach Jameson Zacharias, has done a good job with really teaching him just the ins and outs of our defense. And, he's definitely an impact player for us. Anytime you can put a corner out there and lock somebody down 1-to-1, it's a huge help for your defense. So really excited that he's doing so well, and excited that we'll have him for this year and the next 3.
And Coach Wedner, part of a defense that has seen its struggles as of late. Would be remiss if we didn't just ask about it again. Some of the point totals, some great offenses you've seen, but are there anything in corrections you guys will be able to see over the bye week to say, hey, here's some things that we can get fixed on the defense right now?
Yeah, playing defenses, playing 11 is one, and getting everybody on the same page. And we have not done a great job of eliminating the big play, and that's come from some physical matchups, but more so some things within the scheme that we got corrected over this past bye week. So, really looking back at the Penn game, played well in spurts on defense, but also had given up way too many big runs. So, throughout the bye week, we had some really competitive practices, just Georgetown against Georgetown, 1v1s, 2v2, got really physical. And, hopefully that'll pay some dividends, especially against the run this weekend against a Colgate team that's known for that.
We'll get into Colgate in just a second, Coach, but you mentioned the corrections over the bye week. I also saw a little bit of camaraderie things I think you guys did over that bye week. How did you spend the bye week with the team?
Yeah, it's one of those things. We talk about it as win or learn. We've had some tough scores, and we've been in a ton of games, and there's some really good things that we're doing. We need to be more consistent to get to the goal we want, which is a win. Anytime you get a bye week, we used it to reset. For the coaches, players, and staff, everybody puts in a ton of hours. So to take that time to mentally reset and come back and refocus, we talked about having the same enthusiasm that we did on August 3rd when we came in. And that's what we had within the bye week. Our the Iron Hoyas strength conditioning staff did a great job with the kids in the weight room and on the field, keeping our guys in shape for the 3 days in the bye week. Our coaches were out recruiting nationally. We had our whole staff out across the country, helping us secure this class, which is already off to a great start. For us on the road. And then honestly came back and got 2 great practices in, and really looking forward to getting some time off with family over the weekend and now resetting into the Colgate preparation week.
Rob, what's the health of your Hoyas right now?
Coming out of a bye week, we're pretty good. You still have, some of the things through a physical first part of the season, but, Travis McCormick, our trainer, and their staff have done a great job, working some guys back and getting us to full strength, as close to full strength as you're going to be in the middle of the season, as we hope to be. So, not everybody, but more than we had when we went into the Penn game.
Rob, you mentioned rugged. That's a perfect transition for Colgate. This is a team that's known about being physical football. They run the ball, and they run some more. Going into a game like Colgate against this rugged team, your thoughts on what the Raiders are this year?
Yeah, I mean, it all starts and ends with the quarterback. He's very talented, can run the ball, is throwing it extremely well. So for us, with defending Colgate over the years, they present some of the same challenges as the option offense does. You have to play assignment defense and get 11 hats to the ball. So, throughout the week, we're lucky our offense runs some of the same run schemes as they do. So we're able to get some full speed looks at it. Just like anything else, you got to get 11 people relentless to the football, play physical up front, and do a great job once we get them in third down to get off the field.
Rob, this is maybe a little bit of a inside football question, if you will, but Colgate seems to be a team where, because of the fact they seem to have 2 or 3 kids who can play that spot, they're a team that runs their quarterback, but doesn't shy away from running their quarterback, where some teams may say, we don't want to get the quarterback hurt. It almost feels like the Raiders say, okay, if he gets hurt, we got another one behind him. Does that make things different as a defense for you?
Yeah, you got to play 11 on 11 football in the run game. You have to be really sound and do a great job with your support calls and just making sure that you're fitting each gap and doing a good job playing assignment football. So, they stress you within the scheme to make sure that you got to figure out how to get an extra hat to the football. But, we consider him, with the whole running back crew. It's not just the quarterback and the back in the backfield. So we've defended him for quite a few years and hopefully have a good beat on what it's going to look like on Saturday.
Rob, moving over, your offense against their defense, looking at the stats I've seen this year, has not been maybe their top year when it comes to defending the pass. Is that an area you think you guys have some open big plays considering your talented receiver core?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this for every game that we go into. When our offensive line has done a great job of protecting the quarterback, with the exception of one series against Penn, we did a good job against an extremely talented front that gave fits to all the teams that they have played as far as putting pressure on people. So, with our O line doing a good job protecting, and Pierce being able to throw the ball to Josh and Cam Creighton and Demo and our receiver core, it doesn't really matter to me who we play at this level. I think that we have a talent level that can exploit any defense that we face. So, and that's how those guys practice. And I think that's plays into how, Wedner Cadet is playing on the other side, is he sees some pretty good receivers every day, day in, day out. So it's going to make him better on a daily basis. So, yeah, we're looking forward to it. I would say this, when you get into one of these games and all these games, the biggest thing is it's great to be able to throw the football, but we have to be able to establish the run. We have to be able to get Herm Moultrie and we have to get Josh Stakely going early in this game for us to have success on the offensive side.
Rob, one more about Colgate, and this one, I guess, kind of a fun one depending on your perspective. I've never gone up with the Hoyas, but I've been up to Hamilton, New York a lot. Have you looked at the weather report, and is it going to be a good day for the Hoyas or a bad day? Because we know in Hamilton, it can get bad pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been up there in a while just because of COVID and the way the schedule fell. So the last time we played there, it was one of those days, cold and rain and sleet. And, we talked to our players about not letting the outside things influence you. But if I'm reading it correctly, I got it sitting up here on my board. It's going to be between 60 and 65 up there. And not too windy of a day. So hopefully we'll have a nice day to play.
Oh, that's the best time to go to upstate New York when it's nice and pretty. It is a beautiful area, but it can get kind of treacherous. Coach, let's transition to our Sisu spotlight, and we're going to have a special guest today, a guy that's really close to your heart, Janne Kouri, and a guy who played with you and played for you as a position coach in Georgetown. Great defensive tackle, and Janne, a really special guy. And I believe back in the 1990s, 1996, I believe, 2006, excuse me, an accident that left Janne paralyzed. And it is one of those things. His story is a remarkable story about his just dedication and to life. Can you speak about Janne, who I believe is joining us right now?
Yeah, I know this is a short interview and a short call, but I could go on for hours. So, when you first start coaching, the one thing you'll figure out is you don't know much, and you better have great players. I was lucky. I had Janne play for me as the player of the year, and everything within the MAC for us, and just a dominant player for us at the level, and led to championships and a ton of success. But that pales in comparison to what he's done in his post playing career, and what he's established through Next Step. And we use the term Sisu a lot. It's a Finnish term that means courage in the face of adversity without complaint, kind of a loose translation, but that's a direct uh, result of the relationship that I've been able to build with Janne, and just with his story and resilience, and the toughness and grit that we try to instill in our program is a direct reflection of Janne and everything that he's been able to do. So, Janne, how we doing?
Doing great, thank you. That was a very nice introduction. I appreciate it.
Janne, does it do your heart good to know that you still have such a big kind of part of this Georgetown program? Some of the things that Sgar has taken, learning from you and using them almost as building blocks or foundational pieces of his program.
Well, obviously, the Georgetown football program means the world to me, and I had an amazing experience playing there. And all the players and the whole Georgetown football community has been so helpful to me as I've been working on Next Step and everything I've dealt with post injury. So it's very mutually been a wonderful relationship and experience.
And Janne, for the people that may not know, what exactly is Next Step?
So we build and operate state of the art, affordable, community based rehab and fitness centers for individuals living with paralysis. So for folks with spinal cord injury, stroke, traumatic brain injuries, CP, MS, Parkinson's, you name it. The problem right now is insurance companies on average drop you after about 31 days of hospital-based rehab, and then you don't have anywhere else to go for the rest of your life. So that's where we come in. We want to make sure that the 6 million Americans and wounded vets living with paralysis have access to progressive rehab and healthcare for their entire life at an affordable cost.
And Janne, also one of the things that you've done is your ride for paralysis, where this year I believe it was the sixth ride for paralysis, and it was down in Florida. Can you kind of tell us about how that came about and why Florida was the spot this year?
Yeah, it started in 2019 when Anderson, Bell, myself, and actually a bunch of other Hoyas rode across the country from LA to DC, and it just became a thing. It was an amazing adventure and super challenging, but it's also been a great fundraising vehicle for us. So we just kept doing them. And, we want to pick places that are fun to ride and people want to be a part of, and also where we know people. So Florida just kind of came to our heads and we decided to go for it.
Now, Scar, if I remember correctly, have you been a part of one of these before?
Yeah, a part is a good way to describe it. I don't think I told Janne. They came across the country and it timed up. I actually took the train down to Richmond. Didn't have a bike of my own. They threw me on a bike that they had. Moose is a good part of the story, but he took care of me and got me set. But I don't think I had been on a bicycle since I was about 11 or 12 years old. So very fulfilling just to be with the Hoya football family and all the other people that know Janne and come up from Richmond, take the ride by the airport into DC, by the monuments. And fittingly, we finished coming through the gates, at 37th and 0 and finishing at home at Georgetown for the ride. So, I think it's amazing, and Janne can elaborate on this, just the number of Hoyas, former head coach Bob Benson, who was just here with Penn, came out and rode with him, as well as a lot of his classmates and other folks. So, Janne, how many Hoyas did you have on this one? I know Lars was there because he sent me a ton of pictures, but who else was with it?
Lars actually won the MVP for the ride.
Yeah, I buy that.
Yeah, guy of his size on a bike, and he just crushed it. It was pretty amazing to see. But we had a bunch. We had Mike Halen, who played with us, Aaron Gross, Matt Kane also went to Georgetown. Yeah, there's a bunch of Hoyas on this ride and helped us raise close to $150,000. So awesome. It was really amazing.
That's wonderful, wonderful work, Janne. Coach, you got any good stories about your old defensive lineman?
Yeah, some about red elephants and some about some other things that we probably can't talk about. One of the things that people have asked me a lot about Josh Tomas, number 2 for us, is what makes him different and what makes him special. And I was thinking about this a lot because I got asked the question a couple times. There's only so many people in my head that have this competitive level, this relentless attitude, and this thing. You don't want to get in a competition with Janne about anything, whether it's a ride across the country, backgammon, who's going to be first, or last at a place. And Josh is built the same way. So, all the stories, all the ones that are his success on the field and what made him great, and what makes him great at what he's doing now, helping so many other people and turning, what happened to him that a lot of people would look at it as a tragedy, as an opportunity to do all this work within the world. It goes back to his competitiveness and his selflessness to help other people. So, it's a huge part of our story here. It's a huge part of our story throughout the program. He always will be. And just an honor to have played with, coached, and now consider him one of my dear friends.
Go ahead.
I forgot to mention also John Napoli did most of the ride with us, and he crushed it and raised a lot of money. And Diamond, who's a former Hoya, also was our lead sponsor for the ride. So him and his new company, 1111 Systems. Yeah, I also just want to give a shout out to Kevin Liddy and the brothers at Super Coffee. Thanks again for the continued support. They also sponsored the Florida ride and our other past rides, so greatly appreciate it.
Janne, we're going to get your information as well in a second, but do you have any good Sgar stories for the viewers?
Oh, man.
That are okay for air.
What's that?
That are okay for air.
Remember, I like my job, Janne.
Yeah. Let's keep it that way. We'll just leave it at that. I have lots of great Sgar stories. Obviously, we had a wonderful time playing together, being coached by him. But it was funny. Like when he coaching me, I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" I was just tackling this guy, and then he's my coach. And immediately, day one when he started coaching, I knew he was going to be an amazing coach.
Janne, folks that want to contribute when it comes to the Ride for Paralysis, as well as Next Step, how do they go about that?
You can just go to nextstepfitness.org, and there's a donate button on there. We're going to be doing 2 rides every year, so we haven't figured out what the rides are going to be for next year, but there'll be one in California, and then we do a longer one somewhere else in the country. We're thinking maybe the Pacific Northwest, but we'll just go to nextstepfitness.org or Next Step LA on Instagram. We'll always be keeping everybody up to date.
Janne, again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Your story is so inspiring, and it's been such inspiration for everybody, especially the Georgetown football program.
No, thank you so much, and it's an honor to be a part of this football community, and good luck this weekend, Coach.
Appreciate it.
That's Janne Kouri, of course, head coach Rob Sgarlata. Coach, good luck against the Raiders.
Appreciate it.
Of course, you can check out that. If you don't make the trip up, you can check it out on ESPN Plus, Patriot League on ESPN, a noon kickoff for the Hoyas and Colgate. For Janne Kouri and Rob Sgarlata, I'm Jeremy Huber. Thanks to our producer, Dylan Smith. This has been Sitting Down with Sgar and Hoya Saxa.